Hi, and welcome to Soul Activation Podcast, a world-class broadcast of spiritual insight and inspiration with me, Suzanne Alexandria. In this series, we dive deep into the magical sea of you, to that place in you that's ready to activate, but might not even know what that means. Do you crave to be more spiritually connected? Intriguing, fun, and full of magic, we'll laugh and cry and talk about how crazy this life is, offering healing and insights to lean into. This show broadcasts from pure divine love. Are you ready to light your eternal flame, to spark some magic? Let's talk transformation. Hello, friends. Thank you so much for joining and welcome to Soul Activation Podcast, our newest episode. And today we're featuring a glorious soul, Jennifer Embry. Just a quick reminder about this podcast. I'm live here on Transformation Talk Radio every second and fourth Monday. And that can be live on Facebook and on the website, transformationtalkradio.com. So if you're interested in what is it in you that's ready to activate, come and join and hear stories from my guests and from listeners and from me about what it really means and what are those pivotal times in our life that we actually say yes to transformation and yes to lighting that eternal light some more. It's always there. It's more like the process is to uncover it and let it come out. So once again, I'm Suzanne Alexandria, and if we haven't met yet, then I would love to introduce you to my website at suzannealexandria.com. I am an energy healer. I actually like to say I'm an energy shifter or energy engineer. I teach and use tools like Reiki and a lot of different alignment practices, such as what we're going to hear and experience today with Singing Bowls. Because when you can shift your energy, right, Jennifer, then you can shift your life. Moving energy moves blocks. Moving energy helps you see more clearly. And ultimately, moving energy can be transformative. And that's what this is really, really all about today. I am a teacher, I am an intuitive, and I host sessions one-on-one and teach a number of different classes for other intuitives, for healers, for psychics, and for professionals out there in the corporate world who want to be more sparked, more turned on, and more in alignment with what you're here doing. So reach out, join my email list if you like. You can find that easily when you go to suzannealexandria.com, and let's connect. Today is all about being luminescent, being a luminary. That's what Jennifer Embry is. And that's what Soul Activation Podcast features. Women and men who have said yes to their light. It's one of, interestingly, the hardest things to do, it seems. But when you do it, oh, the reward is so worth it. So Jennifer has said a holy hell yes to her light and to this new form of healing therapy that is being really birthed through her. And so we're going to experience that in a little bit. But this story is going to include her story and also what she's doing, because a lot of times you find that when you have to kind of go through the mill first to figure out what you're going to do or what you want to do with it. Am I right, Jennifer?
Yes.
So before we start with Jennifer, I wanted to share that the week right now that we are in, it's May 24th, and it's a really powerful super moon week. You've probably been hearing that on the internet and even on the news, like CNN featured it. So there's a full moon, and on Tuesday, tomorrow, there is the only lunar eclipse in the whole year of 2021, and the biggest supermoon in this year, 2021. So we're going to be dedicating this sound healing, opening vibrational attunement to that, to harnessing the moon, for whenever you're listening to this, let it carry you into your most glorious luminescence. So and the reason we're doing that is because I believe and I know I've begun to live my life by the flow of the moon more and more and more and more, because I've realized when I allow myself to not resist, but to be in attunement and let, that powerful force work me, basically work within me, life is actually pretty magical. And I mean, it took me a long time. I wasn't always awakened to that, but that's one reason I just personally want to emphasize that, because the moon governs all the waters on our entire planet. And so I've started to realize, well, you best be in alignment with that, because you're all water too. And it just makes your own ebb and flow so much easier. So that's kind of one of the reasons we're focusing. So with that, I would like to talk a little bit about Jennifer and her luminescence. Today, we're talking about experiencing something truly magical that maybe some of you have already experienced through sound and through vibration. This is the art of sound healing through singing bowls. And my amazing, beautiful guest is Jennifer Embry. So Jennifer is a fascinating combination of a therapist, a healer, and if you ask me, a divine oracle. I stuck that in there, Jennifer, because she's quite a visionary. And what she has come upon, and it's relatively new, I think will have profound waves in her field and in, for sure, her work and the work of those that she touches. She is a classically trained Jungian analyst from a Jungian school in Zurich, Switzerland. That's kind of hard to say, Jungian. And so she's created this magical use of vibrational sound through singing bowls as a powerful tool and as a complement to traditional therapy, which she also is trained in. So she's this intersection of something, well, both things that are old and classic, and she's bringing them together in a powerful force. She's in private practice in Houston, Texas, and in New Orleans, and she works at the intersection. That's why I used that word before, the intersection of body and psyche. And for her, that's things like dreams and astrology, film, theater, nature, music, sound. Where do those things intersect? Because nothing is separate. Everything is actually united. Everything flows. And this is the part that I really love. She just delights in making room for that intersection of play and inquiry. And you're going to see the result of that as we talk today. That play and how you bring about your intuitive knowing to manifest. She's a lifelong student of the alchemical experiment of being human. So Jennifer, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad to have you.
Thank you, Suzanne.
And you're in your sound music studio right now with that beautiful background.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I want to just also share, Jennifer, about your history and what you were doing before you came into your healer essence, because Jennifer has this fascinating background of a bachelor's degree in foreign affairs from the University of Virginia, and she and I have Virginia roots in common. And she's got an MBA in finance from Wharton. So talk about intersecting. When I was putting this all together, I was thinking, wow, she's really got left brain and right brain, all, like analytical numbers, policy, and intuition, psyche, therapy, sound. It's pretty cool. Makes you very well-rounded. She's been a psychotherapist since 2005 and a Jungian analyst since 2014. So Jennifer, let's get started talking about you, because as we were talking before the show, Soul Activation podcast really features people, women, men, professionals who've come into their own in certain magnificent ways through, all different paths. And to me, that's letting yourself become activated. It's letting your soul, truth, your light, your heart be your guide, the divine even be your guide. So let's start to talk a little bit about your path. Before you got into all of this, where was it? We talked about how you went to Wharton, you went to UVA. Where along the line did you maybe start to say, wait a minute, there's something more? Maybe this, I don't know. How was this story for you that you decided to go get a degree in therapy?
Well, I think I would start with living in Alexandria and actually being a paralegal and just knowing I needed to go west. And a friend of mine was in Houston, Texas. And so I thought, well, yes, I'm going to go. So I put everything in my car and went to Houston. Wow. And it was like another world.
Yeah.
And so from there, I worked for an oil and gas company, and they were hiring what they called landmen. And I became a land secretary, and then they asked me if I'd like to try it. And I said, yes. And so I did that, and everyone else was lawyers and men. Mm-hmm. And so this looked like it was becoming a career, and I decided, I think I want to put deals together rather than figure out why we have to stop doing something. And so I went to and got my MBA. And when I came back, I worked for the oil company during my breaks. When I came back, there was a big change in the market. Mm-hmm. So I actually ended up going to a bank and working in commercial real estate. And I loved it. And it was a lot like being a landman, putting a lot of things together and having something make sense.
Yeah.
So then my Episcopal priest at the time had taken a sabbatical and had gone into this Jungian practice. And so one day I decided, I don't know anything about this. I'm going to go over and just spend an hour with him. So I did, and I would say that I said, there's nothing wrong with my life at all, and yet I hear something more, and I have no idea what that is. Mm-hmm. So about a week later, he called and said, would you like to be part of my dream group? And I said, well, I would love to, but I don't dream.
I'm a landman, by the way.
I'm a landman.
Because they didn't even have a term for land women, it sounds like, back then. I hope they do by now.
I'm a Virgo. I'm right.
I don't dream.
On the earth with my Virgo and Taurus. And no, I had not captured a dream at that point. So I said yes to it and came and literally sat in circle with these women who lived a totally different life than I had lived. And I was fascinated by it. And I started getting dreams. Probably 30 dreams about high school or more than that. And we analyzed them every which way until finally I had this big dream, and then went to talk to this analyst one-on-one and realized maybe I was supposed to go to a higher school, which was totally not in the cards.
Wow, yeah.
And this dream had the Pacific Ocean in it, and I was kind of told to go see this person, this other friend of mine, because she had gone to this place called Pacifica. Anyway, the rest is history, and I went out there month after month.
Like
sight unseen.
Yeah, so you went from one coast, stopped in the middle, went to the other. It's like sometimes how I see that, those images of the ocean with waved crests. It's like you followed it. Oh my gosh, yeah. Because you had
Yeah.
to, right? It was choiceless.
Well, and
You
I
had to.
applied for 1 year, and then they called me actually on the way back from taking a child to college. And they called me and said, "We have a space this year. Do you want to come?"
Yeah.
So I said, "Yes."
I think that's the universe calling. It's my space.
That's right. And so I went.
Yeah.
And then I loved it. I loved every bit of it. Came back, worked at a homeless women's shelter for my internship, started a program on expressive arts, which I kind of don't know where that came from.
Mm-mm.
And then went into private practice and got very involved with trauma and psychodrama and was very happy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then I got another very big dream about a foreign city, and I knew I was to go.
Wow.
And I was just handed this brochure, and I called the person whose
Wait,
number
who
was
handed
there.
you the brochure?
My analyst handed me
Oh
the
my gosh.
brochure,
Uh-huh.
and they had just started a new English program in Zurich that you could come back and forth from.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So I went. And then in my third exam of the first group of exams was ethnology. And we picked a topic to write a paper on and then do an oral exam on. And my topic picked me, and it was sound.
Ding, ding, ding.
And that was
Yeah.
2010.
And you hadn't had like did you have any music in your background or anything? Like,
I had sung in a choir when I was
hmm
10.
wow. Wow.
And
I love it.
nothing since.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
about a year earlier, I'd been asked to do a labyrinth walk, facilitate a labyrinth walk for a birthday, and they wanted me to sing something. And I didn't have the confidence to do it. So I went and thought I was going to take a couple voice lessons. Well,
Here you are.
yes.
Writing songs. Yeah.
And then, so I said yes to sound. I did my exam. I wrote my thesis on sound 3 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And it has had me ever since.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because it is you.
And so
Yeah.
it's sound.
So, do you feel like you've always been that's really like the perfect example of following your guidance? Like, is that how you've lived your life, basically?
I would say it was split. Like
Uh-huh.
some people I knew would say that,
Mm-hmm.
and then some people would say I was very grounded and methodical and,
Mm-hmm.
very.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you clearly got both of those so that you could do what you're doing and embarking in now, because you need to be like a forerunner in this. You need to be able to manage and navigate the business realm, or the infrastructure, the universities, wherever you're going to bring it.
Where, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. See, I mean, I
It's
just
like,
love your story because like it's such a good example of how you've always had what was the best for you, and you listened and you followed it. Like, it sounds like, was it hard to even leave Alexandria back then?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. It was
Mm-hmm.
really hard to leave that familiar.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. That's the key. Mm-hmm.
And then it was exciting to go to something new,
Yeah.
and it was a whole different way of living in
Yeah.
Texas.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah. It's
was.
like a whole different country. This country is like that. It's funny. Yeah.
Yes, it was. There was
Well,
so much opportunity.
yeah. I mean, I just love it. I wanted to share because I believe we need more stories of this kind of courage to follow your heart, your gut, even if you're not sure. Jennifer's an example of that. Like, Oh my gosh. But let's start. So I do want to actually have you help us understand Jungian psychology. But before that, I just want to plant a little seed with a question. So, because we're going to end up experiencing sound healing in a sound bath. What is the biggest thing right now that you know to be true about sound healing? Like your biggest discovery thus far?
It transports us
Mm. Mm-hmm.
to a place we haven't known before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is the biggest thing I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's kind of like a cloud that lifts you if you're laying on a cloud. That's the visual I get. A
Yes.
sound cloud. Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Transports you.
Mhm.
Yeah. So let's just say with our listeners, if you want to be transported in a little while after our break, that you'll get to experience that. That's a really cool, um, yeah, thank you. I like that visual of it.
Mhm. Susanna, I'd also say it supports us at times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
if someone is really, really emoting
Yeah.
really strongly,
Mm-hmm.
just hearing that sound brings another layer of a presence.
Yes. Yeah. And it can clear so quickly. I actually
Yes.
have two stories I wanted to quickly share because back in 2013, I went through an experience with breast cancer and I had surgery and I was deep into yoga, and luckily at my studio they did gong baths every week. My dear teacher guide Natasha, and it was an instrumental part of my healing after surgeries, where to dissipate stress and anesthesia and all of that. I mean, so powerful to have this vibratory force work in my physical and emotional healing. But then just recently at my massage spa where I go, I was working through something extremely emotional that I could have, very honestly, I could have had like a major outburst of crying, but I didn't, I was on the verge, and then the therapist gonged the sound bowl right on the back of my neck, and it just like blew away. I mean, I know in such a helpful spiritual way, like I didn't have to run it all through my body anymore. It just like lifted, it transported the emotions that were releasing from my body in that massage away completely in the minute she did that. And it was like I think that's probably my most profound experience of instant, whoa, that is powerful energy shift right there.
In fairy tales, it's often when there comes in like a sound,
Mm-hmm.
it all changes.
You're right, the music. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's how you tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Or shift. Yeah, you
Shifts it.
shift scenes. Yeah, that's a really cool way to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do a men's dream group, and after they have shared, they come in and share, and then I play a bowl like
Mm-hmm.
sherbet, you know, between
Mm-hmm.
courses or something.
Oh, nice.
to, to
Without that
move
palette. Yeah.
to move from the outer world to the inner
Yeah.
world, because
Yeah.
then we're going to
Yeah.
talk about dreams.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. Okay. All right. Well, so let's transition a little bit into what is Jungian psychology, because I hope to share, you're creating this intersection with that and sound. So what is it? How can we think about it in simple terms?
Sure. Jungian psychology is a depth psychology. So, believing that our personal unconscious plays an important role in navigating us to wholeness.
Mm-hmm.
And so, then by paying attention to symbols and metaphor, to what we're attracted to and repulsed by,
Mm-hmm.
and synchronicity where time meets us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That we can find our way
Yeah.
by paying attention to our dreams
Mm-hmm.
and the alchemical process that may be going on in our lives.
Yeah, pay attention. Yeah. So does, like, to me, I would, in my realm, I would kind of classify that as my heart and my spirit even, and my guides. But does Jung, what does he define, like, where that's coming? I mean, is where it's coming from, or does he just call it the unconscious,
No, he actually
subconscious rather?
calls it the capital S self, which is the
Oh, okay.
God within.
Oh, okay. Okay. So he calls it that?
Yes,
Oh my
yes.
gosh. Wow, that's
He
cool.
calls it the
Okay.
capital S self.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and we're working with an ego self axis,
Mm-hmm.
moving
Right.
from and helping that be more flexible
Mm-hmm.
between ego and self
Okay.
by these
Wow.
experiences.
Does he describe, like, how he understood the ego and the self, like where they are or how they are together or anything like that?
Well, so the ego is the way we orient ourselves in time and space.
Mm-hmm.
Like it gets us from one place to another.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the self is this mystery,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
this
So
God goddess
yeah.
within.
Yeah. So for you, it's your Wharton self and then your healer self, your musician self. Yeah. Okay, that's super helpful. I've always wondered. I've just not known much about it. Is there anything else you want to share about it?
Well, what he also discovered was something called the collective unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where we're all alike.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where artists are tapping into and
Mm-hmm.
people that are followed
Yeah.
across generations or cultures.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. 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 The other day, I was doing a session, and the visual of that, it was kind of cool, was a whole array of sunflowers, and you know how they follow the sun all
Sun.
together.
Yes.
And in the context, it was like, well, you're also one of those. Sometimes you're in that mix in the pasture with all of them in the field in southern France, is
Yes.
where mine is.
Yes.
Or you're over here, like you're breaking away and you're realizing your individuality. But I kind of think we're always, we're always doing that dance because we are both, So I liked that visual. It was
Yes.
helpful.
Yes. And Suzanne, I think of Jungian psychology as an energetic psychology. Like,
Perfect.
where is the energy stuck?
Mm-hmm.
He called that a complex.
Okay.
Where is the energy stuck? And then what modality is helpful in unwinding it or breaking it up or enfolding it or whatever, so we can integrate that.
So he
rather than-
actually identified it as energy.
Originally, Jungian psychology was called complex psychology, which
Yeah.
is energy that has gotten
Oh
constellated.
wow, yeah, stuck. Okay, cool.
Stuck.
Oh, he was amazing.
and then dreams are taking us to that, how the energy might be going,
Mm-hmm.
the end of a dream, the lysis of a dream,
Yeah.
where the energy is taking us.
Yeah, where it wants to lead you. Yeah.
Yes.
And when you're in alignment, then you're able to notice that and be in it and follow it.
Yes. And it's even helpful to know when we're not in alignment, because
Yeah.
it's always two sides of everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do you know when you're in alignment?
Total alignment, I get chills.
Mm-hmm.
I get it in my body.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes I get colors.
Yeah.
There's a
Perfect.
certain blue color I might get.
Mm-hmm. That says you're plugged in.
I'm
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it's this feeling of peace. For me, it's also very physical. I just know I am connected, like as above, so below, and I don't feel any anxiety. I feel like, oh, like a strongly rooted tree.
Yes.
Hallelujah for
Yes.
that, huh? That's what your sound bath is going to bring our listeners to in a little bit. So, okay, so we're going to take a little break in a little bit, but first, let's talk about how you're using this sound therapy in your practice with sessions, with groups, so listeners can start to think about the potential with that in their lives.
Great. Well, I had mentioned earlier, like when someone is really, really sobbing, and I know that they are open to this,
Mm-hmm.
I might just intuitively pick a bowl
Mm-hmm.
and start playing it. Like in that case, I would probably pick the heart bowl
Mm-hmm.
and just play
Mm-hmm.
with their heart.
Mm. And help facilitate
And
that.
it just helps facilitate the
Mm-hmm.
movement of it.
Yes, yes, yes.
And hearing that there's some other energy present
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
holding them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, because Dr. Carey, one of my other therapist friends, has taught me about that. Like, and sometimes even extreme depth of crying can be, we often it's very healing and helpful, but sometimes you get stuck in the trauma loop. So I would imagine that's where this sound can help you if it's not healthy, like, or helpful anymore to get breakout. Is that what you experience?
That's, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And even like with anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
if we think of it as a movement up and down,
Mm-hmm.
the movement around the bowl can help soothe it.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Oh, wow. It even just like demonstrates to the body probably what to do. Oh my gosh.
Yes,
That is
I
so
think
cool.
so. And
That's
then
one way, maybe. Yeah.
I had done an experiment with going through each one of the chakras bowls
Mm-hmm.
one at a time, week after
Mm-hmm.
week, and then tracking people's dreams to
Mm-hmm.
see if they followed along themes from the chakras. And
Mm-hmm.
they did.
Oh,
They
wow.
did.
Wow. That's really
Yes.
fascinating. So, what does that mean? Like the bowl would have activated the chakra in the session, and then.
Maybe it's because in Jungian psychology, there's what we see and then there's what we don't see.
Mm-hmm.
Like that level of
Oh
energy
yeah.
below words
Yeah. Yeah.
that's between like us right now,
Yeah.
even.
Yes. The knowing. Mm-hmm.
And so that unknown,
Mm-hmm.
maybe by talking about the chakra and what that was about and then sensing
Mm-hmm.
it, because
Yeah.
our chakras make sound.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They also
So,
govern. So I can imagine that it's literally telling the chakra, hey, it's your turn. You get to have a voice now, or
yes,
something like that.
I
Yeah.
think it's something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the dream may come when we are asleep and in our unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
Then that dream energy can come up
Mm-hmm.
and we can maybe hear something
Yeah. Yeah.
or listen into something.
Perceive. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're using these bowls in, like, you're using them one-on-one in your one-on-one sessions and in groups?
Yes.
Yeah. And how do
Yes.
your clients, what do they say?
I don't use it with everyone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so it's just kind of intuitive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes they'll hear something else coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you play the bowls, they're a little bit different depending on the energies in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just takes people, I feel, into their bodies and into an intuitive space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
On a cloud.
On a cloud.
I'm sticking with that one for me. I'm calling that in. Okay, well, let's see. So we're gonna, in a moment, we're gonna take a quick break, but is there anything else that we haven't covered that you want to share before we
I
go into
think
that?
the other way I might use it, I'm very attuned to the body in my
Mhm.
practice. And when someone comes in with a symptom,
Ah,
I might offer to play a bowl,
yeah. Like
or
for
I
that
might,
chakra.
with that chakra,
Mhm.
or I might offer to send them a little track of
Mm.
something that
Mhm.
they can listen to. You
Yeah.
know, maybe there's a sleep issue or
Mhm.
something, and I might just play bowls
Yes.
for 5 minutes or something.
Yeah, directed at that. That's yeah, and I'm sure, I mean, what do they sense usually? Like a dissipating and oh, probably all kinds of things.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
But I think
Mhm.
it's kind of another presence
Mhm. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they're attuning to.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes sound therapy is like a chisel getting stuff out, or a scoop, or a salve, or a warm mist, or like that's the magical thing. It could be so many different things, but everything is sound actually. Sound made the whole universe. So, it's like
Yes.
wow. So, okay. Well, this is so fun. All right. So, for our listeners, we'll be back in a few minutes. If you want to be in a place where you can receive, you could get headphones, you could lay down, you could sit, you can be driving, just keep your eyes open. However you want to receive this, in a few moments, Jennifer will bring in delightful sound intended. We've talked about it to harness the moon wherever you are on whatever day. It's going to harness the moon. How about that? Okay, we'll be back in just a few minutes. Hi, friends. Welcome back to Soul Activation Podcast. I'm Suzanne Alexandria, and this is Jennifer Embry with me today. And as we've been talking about sound therapy, sound healing, sound vibration, my amazing guest, therapist, and sound healer, Jennifer, is going to give us a gift of a sound bath for about 10 minutes of luxurious sound. So if you feel like you want to turn up the volume, or get headphones, or lay back and close your eyes, or look up at the sun, wherever you are, we intend that this is wholly for you, uniquely wherever you are, to be just perfect in assisting you with your vibration today. So Jennifer, over to you.
Great. And you might just take 3 deep breaths, leaving the outer world behind and asking for what you really, really want.
My. I am so zhuzhed. Thank you. That was beautiful, Jacob, our producer. I hope you liked that too. And all our listeners, wow, that just grounded and harmonized me. Like, whoa, so beautiful. Thank you, Jennifer.
You're so
Thank you, thank you,
welcome.
thank you. And at the end, it was like a cosmic connection. Like when you brought that blue bowl out, I suddenly felt this unique cosmos connection. What was that? What was that for you?
Well, and I have to say, I apologize a little for the pattering of feet. I don't know if you
No,
heard
it's
my
perfect.
dog.
Yeah, like some dog energy. Who cares?
His name is Cosmos.
Oh my God, you're kidding.
No, and he usually comes in here and lies down the whole time. And I didn't see him. And then he's out there pittering.
No, when I heard that, I'm like, who doesn't want some doggy juju anyway? But oh, his name is Cosmos. So at the end, it was like totally this cosmic strand of energy came through for me, like a direct channel. Oh my goodness. Thank you.
You're so
Thank you. Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you.
You're so
Well,
welcome.
oh, so if this is new to listeners, I just want to like say holy hallelujah because this is such an example. My whole mantra and tagline is, shift your energy, you can shift your life. And this is a way to do it. Now, when you're doing it, you're just following your divine guidance system, right? Of which thing to do next. How many bowls do you have
Yes,
there? How many?
I have 8 bowls,
8.
and these are alchemical bowls.
Ooh.
So
What
this
does
is
that mean?
actually my third set of bowls.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they each one of them are different,
Mm-hmm.
and many of mine have gold in them,
Oh my
but they
gosh.
take on
That's
the
why. Whoa.
alchemical energies, and they're made just one at a time. I mean, I don't know,
So they're all
like
glass like that. Is it glass or
it's
is it?
crystal.
Oh, so is it carved out?
And it's
Mm.
carved, and then like
Okay.
this one has
Mm-hmm.
like a little birthmark in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Every one is just individually blown,
Wow.
and
Where are they
yes, they're
made? Do you know?
quite beautiful.
Oh my goodness. Do you know where they're
Yes,
created?
I think they're created in North Carolina. I
Mm.
think that's where they come from.
Wow.
I got mine from a distributor, Gerald in
Mm-hmm.
Glass.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
so to you, what was that like for you? What was the essence of what just came through?
For me, Suzanne, it goes through my body, and so I'm not thinking about what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a felt sense,
Yeah.
and it's like an eclipse. It's like a simultaneous
Mm-hmm.
letting go of whatever is not needed, and then
An
this
eclipse. I
stream
like
of
that.
energy comes in.
Yes. Yeah, out with the old, in with the new.
Yes,
Yeah, that's how I feel now. In with some cosmic stuff. I don't know what it is.
yes. And it's a little wavy
Yeah.
or
Mm-hmm.
serpenty
Mm-hmm.
as
Mm-hmm.
it comes in.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Well, that's how sound moves, right? Sound in waves. Yeah, sound
Right.
waves. Mm-hmm. And they're different sizes. So
They're
yeah.
different sizes and different alchemies in each bowl.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you. Is there any last thing that you'd like to say about to our listeners before we conclude this episode? What's your what's the advice you leave them with?
To really follow your bliss.
Ah,
It's
yeah,
not
needed
what's
that.
hard. It's
Yeah.
really what's
Resisting that is what's hard.
yeah, it's what's easy for you that
Yeah.
feels
Yeah.
like play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this clearly is like play for you.
It's it's like play, and it continues to lead me to places I
Yeah.
would never have guessed.
Yeah. So what's next?
I've started writing songs,
Mm-hmm.
and
Channeling. I'm channeling songs. Yeah.
actually what's happened is someone is asked to sing them. And so
Wow.
that may be happening like soon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And also, a dear friend died on the 5th of May.
Mm-hmm.
And I just downloaded this creativity of a song, and it has a life of its own. So I'm just following it.
Divinely inspired by her. Yeah.
Yes,
Her. Yeah. Like a
yes.
fusion. It feels like some kind of fusion with her.
I can
Ooh.
totally feel it.
Fusion. Soul fusion. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. That's
So,
what being an alchemist is, right? Like you said that in your bio. This intersection and this becoming, it's alchemy, turning ourselves into gold and following the gold strands.
and what we don't know,
Yeah.
saying yes to what we don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Especially if it
Yes,
feels right.
yes,
So do that. Yeah.
yes.
Here's to
So I
that.
encourage that.
Well, thank you so very much, Jennifer, for being my special guest and
Thank
soul
you.
sister. And to our listeners, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Soul Activation Podcast. If you want to reach out to Jennifer, simply go to my website, SuzanneAlexandria.com, and you can send me an email that I will forward to Jennifer. That's our way to communicate with her right now. If you're interested in learning more about your energy or about any of this, I teach lots of different classes and I do individual sessions. I've had the pleasure of working with Jennifer last year, and we're all about being activated. So reach out if you feel the calling, if you've got questions. I actually offer a free phone call option on my website that you can set up and we can talk if you're curious about what is in store for you or what you might be able to tap into. So thank you. I'll see you all here every second and fourth Monday at Transformation Talk Radio or online at SuzanneAlexandria.com. And thank you, Jennifer. Blessings, blessings. I feel so
Thank
good
you.
and zhuzhed. Namaste.
Namaste, Suzanne. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
To me, this path of healing and enlightenment is this immaculate process of finding all the parts of us that have been lost and hidden and even taken, and then very masterfully and lovingly recombining ourselves, coming into our true self, and then all of a sudden realizing, oh my gosh, I'm home. Thank you for listening to Soul Activation Podcast. For more information about me, visit SuzanneAlexandria.com. Tune in every second and fourth Monday, 2 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern at TransformationTalkRadio.com.